If you are sitting there right now feeling exhausted, unmotivated, and guilty for not being productive enough, I have a secret for you. You are not actually lazy. You are just a biological masterpiece being forced to live in a world that is fundamentally broken. Every single day, you are told that your value as a human being is tied to your output. You are told that if you aren't grinding, hustling, or checking off 1,000 boxes, you are failing at the game of life. But for 99% of human history, the modern concept of a workday simply did not exist. Your ancestors didn't work 40, 50, or 60 hours a week under fluorescent lights. In fact, if you showed a prehistoric hunter-gatherer your weekly calendar, they wouldn't feel bad for you. They would find your entire existence to be a form of clinical insanity. Welcome to the reality of the 4-hour workday. A time when leisure was the rule, not the exception. In this simulation, we are going to pit your modern office job against the original human lifestyle. Meet Mark. He is a high-performing analyst at a firm in the city. Mark wakes up at 6:30 a.m. to an artificial alarm that shatters his natural sleep cycle. He drinks caffeine to trick his brain into thinking it isn't tired. He spends 8 to 10 hours staring at a digital screen, manipulating symbols that have no physical reality. By the time Mark gets home, he is tired, but it is a strange, hollow kind of exhaustion. He hasn't moved his body, yet his brain feels like it has been fried in a microwave. Now, let's look at Mark's ancestor from 30,000 years ago. Let's call him Khan. Khan wakes up when the sun hits the cave entrance and the birds begin to sing. He doesn't have a boss. He doesn't have a mortgage. He doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. Anthropologists studying groups like the Hadza or the Ruhonzi have discovered something that makes economists cry. On average, these people only spend about 15 to 20 hours a week on work. And by work, we mean the vital tasks of hunting, gathering, and making tools. That is roughly 3 to 4 hours a day to provide everything they need for survival. The rest of their time, nearly 80% of their waking lives, is spent on something we have forgotten. They spend it on play, storytelling, grooming each other, napping, and simply existing in the moment. To Khan, the idea of sitting in a cubicle for 8 hours would look like a prison sentence. So why does Mark feel so much more stressed than a man who had to face saber-toothed tigers? The answer lies in the way our brains are programmed to handle effort. Your brain is a survival computer designed to be extremely efficient with its energy. In the wild, calories were scarce. You didn't waste energy for no reason. You moved when you had to, you hunted when you were hungry, and you rested when you were safe. This is what psychologists call optimal foraging theory. It is a biological drive to get the maximum reward for the minimum effort. Khan's work had a clear beginning, a clear middle, and a very satisfying end. When he caught the deer, the work was over. The reward was immediate, tangible, and shared with his tribe. His brain received a massive surge of dopamine and serotonin that signaled, "Job well done. Go take a nap." Mark, however, is stuck in what we call a chronic stress loop. His work never actually ends. There is always another email, another quarter, another project. His brain is constantly on, but it never gets the signal of completion that triggers the rest and digest phase. This is why burnout is a modern invention. It is the result of a hunter's brain being forced to run a marathon that never finishes. We are the only species on Earth that tries to ignore its biological need for rhythmic rest. But the problem is even deeper than just the hours we work. It's the kind of work we do. Humans are designed for active rest. Our ancestors didn't sit on a couch staring at a wall for 12 hours. They were constantly engaged in low-intensity movement. Walking, talking, crafting, and observing nature. This kept their bodies primed and their minds clear without ever reaching the point of total exhaustion. In our modern world, we have replaced active rest with passive consumption. Because we are so drained by our symbolic work, we spend our free time in a digital stupor. We scroll through infinite feeds, looking for the hit of dopamine our work failed to provide. But this doesn't actually recharge the brain, just adds more noise to an already overloaded system. Your laziness is actually a biological strike. It is your brain refusing to participate in an unnatural system. When you can't find the motivation to write that report, it's because your primal mind sees no survival value in it. It recognizes that the effort you are putting in does not lead to a tangible, life-saving reward. This is the disconnect. We have built a world that rewards the grind, but our biology still craves the flow. The 4-hour workday wasn't just a luxury. It was a biological necessity for our mental health. It allowed for the development of human culture, art, and complex social bonds. If Khan had worked 40 hours a week, he would have been too tired to paint the walls of Lascaux. He would have been too stressed to invent the myths that eventually built our civilizations. We are literally working ourselves into a state of cultural and biological stagnation. Let's look at the science of the watch again, but this time through the lens of productivity. Research shows that for most creative and complex tasks, humans only have about 4 hours of peak focus in them. After that, the quality of work drops off a cliff. We spend the remaining 4 hours of the workday just looking busy. We attend meetings that could have been emails, we refresh our inboxes, pretend to type. This is performative productivity, and it is the primary cause of modern anxiety. We are terrified that if we stop acting busy, the system will realize we aren't necessary. But our ancestors didn't have to pretend. If the work was done, they sat down. There was no moral weight attached to doing nothing. In fact, doing nothing was the goal. Leisure was the highest form of wealth. Today, we treat leisure like a shameful secret. We feel guilty for taking a nap on a Tuesday afternoon, even if our work is finished. That guilt is a parasite. It is a social construct designed to keep the industrial machine running. It has nothing to do with your biological reality or your worth as a human being. Consider the hormone cortisol. In Khan's world, cortisol was for emergencies. It gave him the burst of energy to run from a predator or fight for his life. In Mark's world, cortisol is a constant background noise. It is always there, dripping into his system. High levels of chronic cortisol literally shrink the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic and focus. The more we work, the dumber we become. The harder we grind, the less capable we are of solving the problems we face. This is the ultimate irony of the modern world. We are obsessed with productivity, yet we are creating a brain-damaged workforce. So what is the solution? How do we escape the simulation? We can't all move back to caves and hunt for our dinner. The world has changed. But we can start by acknowledging the lazy myth. We can stop apologizing for our biology. We need to reclaim the active rest that our ancestors perfected over 300,000 years. This means setting hard boundaries. It means realizing that your best is only 4 hours long. It means understanding that doing nothing is actually the most productive thing you can do for your brain. When you allow yourself to wander, to play, and to rest without guilt, you are resetting your ancestral clock. You are giving your nervous system the chance to move out of survival mode and into growth mode. The 200,000-year-old software in your head is waiting for the signal that the hunt is over. It is waiting for the campfire. It is waiting for the story. It's waiting for the connection. The 4-hour workday isn't a dream from the past. It is a blueprint for a sustainable future. We have the technology to produce everything we need with a fraction of the human effort. But we have chosen to use that technology to work more, not less. We have traded our freedom for stuff, and we have traded our peace for status. But the bones don't care about your status. Your brain doesn't care about your job title. They only care about the rhythm of the day and the safety of the tribe. Next time you feel that wave of laziness wash over you, don't fight it. Listen to it. It is your ancestors whispering to you from across the millennia. They are telling you that the sun is setting and the work is done. They are telling you that you have earned the right to just sit by the fire and breathe. You aren't a broken machine. You are a tired human, and that is okay. We live in the ruins of a biological rhythm that we lost during the Industrial Revolution. But the rhythm is still there, pulsing in your DNA, waiting for you to find the switch. The modern world is a 24/7 neon simulation that never sleeps and never rests. But you were made for the dark, and you were made for the quiet, and you were made for the long, slow afternoons. Reclaim your time, reclaim your rest, reclaim your life. Because at the end of the day, you won't remember the emails you sent. You will remember the stories you told and the people you loved and the hours when the work was gone. The 4-hour workday is calling you back home. Will you answer? Or will you keep running a race that has no finish line? The simulation is exhausting. The reality is waiting for you to wake up. Sleep well, Mark. The sun is going down. And for the first time in a long time, you don't have to do anything at all. The hunt is over. The fire is lit. Welcome back to the tribe. The end of the grind is the beginning of the human experience. Are you ready to be human again? I thought so. Take a breath and just exist. That is the most productive thing you will do all day. It's the ghosts of 30,000 years are nodding in agreement. You are finally doing it right. Keep going. Or rather, stop. The world can wait. Your biology cannot. See you at the campfire. Goodbye for now.